It's a unique kind of pain, isn't it? The kind that comes not just from a breakup, but from a deliberate attempt to erase you. He didn't just move on, he tried to replace you in the life you built together, slotting another person into the space you once occupied. It was a profound disrespect, a betrayal that went far beyond the end of a relationship. He took this new woman and tried to force her into the heart of the family, a family you nurtured, a sanctuary you helped create with your own hands, your own time, your own love. The pain you feel is completely valid. It's the deep, gut-wrenching wound of watching someone actively try to rewrite your shared history. He expected everyone, his parents, his siblings, the children, to simply accept this new reality as if you had never existed. He presented her at family dinners, in the home you decorated, at traditions you started. And with every strained smile, he was sending a clear message. You were replaceable. It's the ultimate injustice, being treated like a disposable piece in the puzzle of your own life, a chapter he thought he could just rip out and paste a new one over. But history isn't so easily erased, and the human heart remembers. But life has a way of balancing the scales. You don't always see it coming, but the consequences of our actions eventually find their way back to us. For him, karma didn't arrive with a dramatic crash, but in the quiet, piercing honesty of the very people he was trying so desperately to fool. It happened at a family dinner, one of those gatherings that used to be filled with warmth and laughter, the kind you helped create. He brought her, parading her with a smile so tight it looked painful. He was seeking validation, a collective nod of approval that would somehow justify his betrayal. But it never came. Instead, the room was suffocating with unspoken truths. Conversations were short, a minefield of polite but empty words. You could see the profound exhaustion etched on his face, not the look of a man in love, but the weariness of someone who knows, deep down, that they are living a lie. He was losing the one thing he always took for granted, the respect of his own family. The breaking point came from the most innocent source. A young nephew, too pure to understand the politics of the situation, looked up from his plate and asked, his voice clear enough for everyone to hear, "But where is she? We like the other one better." The silence that fell over the room was absolute. Every fork stopped midway to a mouth. All eyes, one by one, turned to him. In that single, devastating moment, his entire charade crumbled into dust. The forced smile evaporated, replaced by a flush of raw humiliation. His shoulders slumped, his head bowed. The truth was finally laid bare for everyone to see. He was the one who had shattered their peace, and no amount of pretending could piece it back together. It wasn't long before he appeared at your door. He didn't come with the arrogance you remembered, but with the crushing weight of his failure. He told you it was all a mistake, that his family wouldn't accept her, that the foundation you both built had crumbled without you. He said you were the only one who could fix the damage he had caused, practically begging you to return and restore the harmony he had so carelessly destroyed. And with the calm of a woman who has already walked through the fire and come out whole, you gave him your answer. You told him without anger that the family he broke was not your responsibility to mend. Trust, respect, and love aren't things you can break and then demand someone else glue back together. That door didn't just close, it was sealed the moment he chose his ego over his family. Now he would have to learn to live in the silence he created. Look, let's talk about what happened, about the decision he made. It wasn't just a simple mistake born from a moment of weakness, but it was a calculated act of immense arrogance. He didn't just decide to be with someone else, he decided he had the right to erase you. He truly believed he could take this new woman and surgically implant her into the life you had built together, into the very heart of the family. His error was thinking that people and relationships are interchangeable parts. He assumed that his family, the people who had loved and respected you, would simply accept this replacement because he willed it. He presented her as a finished product, a new reality, expecting everyone to fall in line and pretend your history never existed. This wasn't a choice about his happiness, but it was a power play. It was his attempt to prove that you were disposable, that the years of love, effort, and connection you built meant so little that they could be swapped out without consequence. He failed to understand that a family isn't a company where you can just hire a new manager. It's a living thing, built on shared memories and genuine bonds, bonds that you were an integral part of. That was his fatal miscalculation. And now you're seeing the harvest. It's not a loud, dramatic event. It's a quiet, slow unraveling. It's in the small things, the signs that you notice because you once knew the landscape of his life so well. This is the part of the story where the consequences settle in, not like a storm, but like a persistent cold rain that seeps into everything. You hear about it indirectly.
A call from his sister, who, after a few minutes of polite chatter, let slip that family get-togethers have become tense. They're less frequent now. No one knows what to say, so mostly they just don't say anything at all. He used to be the life of the party, the one who held court. Now, he's the reason for the silence. He's the ghost at the table, a constant reminder of a wound that hasn't healed because he was the one who inflicted it. You see the signs in him, too, on the rare occasions your paths cross. The arrogance has been replaced by a deep, hollow exhaustion. It's in the slump of his shoulders, the way he avoids eye contact. That confident stride is gone, replaced by the hesitant shuffle of a man who is no longer sure of his place in the world. He lost more than just you. He lost the respect of the people whose opinions he valued most, and that has broken something fundamental inside him. He's carrying the weight of his choices, and it is a heavy, visible burden. And what of the new relationship, the one he tried to build on the ruins of your own? It's not the triumphant love story he imagined. How could it be? It began with a lie, a forced entry into a sacred space. She is a constant symbol of his betrayal, and he is a constant reminder of her rejection. There is no peace there. They are two people living in the wreckage he created, likely blaming each other for the fact that the fantasy he promised never came true. He didn't just fail to replace you, he created a void that is now swallowing him whole. This isn't karma as revenge, this is simply the result. He is living in the house he built, and the walls are closing in. And so he finally came back, not with the arrogant swagger you remembered, but as a man hollowed out by his own choices. He stood at your door looking smaller, older, the weight of his failure pressing down on his shoulders. The man who tried to rewrite history, who thought he could simply slot a new person into your life, was now standing before you, a ghost of his former self. He spoke, and the words tumbled out in a messy, desperate confession. It wasn't an apology for the pain he caused you. It was a lament for the consequences he was now facing. He told you it was all a mistake, that his family wouldn't accept her, that the world he tried to build on your ashes had collapsed. He talked about the silences at the dinner table, the averted gazes, the cold politeness that had replaced the warmth you once cultivated. He was describing the fallout from a bomb he himself had planted. Then came the most audacious part of his plea. He looked at you, with an earnestness that was almost pathetic, and said that you were the only one who could fix it. He was asking you to come back, not because he missed you, but because he missed the life you provided. He needed you to rebuild the bridges he had burned, to soothe the family he had fractured, to restore the harmony he had single-handedly destroyed. He wasn't asking for your love, he was asking for your labor. He saw you as a solution to his problem, a tool to repair his self-inflicted damage. And in that moment, you saw everything with perfect clarity. The anger was gone, the hurt had faded into a scar, and all that was left was a profound and unshakable peace. You had already walked through the fire, and emerged on the other side. You looked at this man, this architect of his own misery, and you felt nothing but a quiet finality. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't list his crimes. You simply told him the truth. You told him that the family he broke was his responsibility, not yours. You explained with a calmness that seemed to unnerve him, that trust, love, and respect are not things that can be shattered and then handed to someone else to glue back together. You cannot burn down a home and then ask the person you evicted to come back and rebuild it for you and a new tenant. That door was closed. It wasn't slammed in anger. It was sealed with the quiet certainty of a woman who finally understood her own worth. You were not a janitor for his messes. You were not a pillar for a life that no longer included you. His quest for a replacement had failed, and now he was left with the one thing he couldn't escape, the echo of his own choices in a house that was no longer a home. He would have to learn to live in the silence he created. And you were already free. Let's talk about the aftermath, because the consequences of his actions aren't a single dramatic event. They are a quiet, grinding reality that he now lives every day. These are the signs of his fall, the subtle cracks that show the entire foundation of his new life is unstable. First, you see it in his face. The arrogance he once wore like a shield is gone, replaced by a deep, weary exhaustion. It's not just tiredness, it's the exhaustion of a man constantly holding himself together. His eyes, which once scanned a room with confidence, are now restless and avoidant. They don't meet yours or anyone else's for more than a second. There are new lines around his mouth, etched not by laughter, but by the strain of forcing smiles that don't reach his eyes. He looks like a man who hasn't had a moment of genuine peace in a very long time. His behavior has changed too. He's become a ghost in his own life. You hear that he's become withdrawn, almost skittish.
The man who once commanded attention at family gatherings now lingers at the edges of any room, speaking only when spoken to. He's nervous, constantly checking his phone or adjusting his collar, anything to avoid real conversation. He's afraid of the one question that still hangs in the air, the one that child asked so innocently. He's living in fear of judgment, and so he has sentenced himself to a life of social isolation, moving through the world like a fugitive from his own past. And the environment he fought so hard to create? It's a cold one. The life he shares with her is not a sanctuary, it's a monument to his failure. There's a profound chill there, because it was never built on love, but on defiance. They are two people living in the silent fallout of his mistake. She is a constant reminder of the family's rejection, and he is a constant reminder that the life he promised her was a fantasy he couldn't deliver. There are no joyful gatherings, no spontaneous visits from family. There is only the heavy, suffocating silence of a home that was never truly a home, occupied by two people bound not by affection, but by a shared, unspoken disappointment. This is his new reality, a quiet, lonely existence of his own making. And now we look to the future. Not his, not yet, but yours. Because your future began the moment you closed that door, not on him, but on the past he represented. Freedom, you've discovered, isn't a loud celebration. It's the quiet, steady rhythm of a life reclaimed. It's waking up in the morning without a knot of anxiety in your stomach. It's the simple joy of making coffee for one, enjoying the silence, and knowing that the peace in your home is yours alone. It cannot be given or taken away by anyone else. Your life is moving forward, built on the solid ground of self-worth. You are rediscovering the person you were before you became part of a we. There are new hobbies, new friendships, and a renewed connection with the family members who never wavered. They see you not as a victim, but as a survivor who chose dignity over desperation. The love they have for you is now tinged with a profound respect. You didn't just heal, you grew stronger in the broken places. As for him, his future is the very thing he tried to escape, a long, quiet echo of his own choices. The damage he did to his family was not temporary. Trust, once shattered, doesn't grow back the same. The holidays will come and go, marked by a polite but permanent distance. He will sit at the table, a guest in a life he once commanded, and see the ghosts of what he threw away in the empty chairs and the conversations that die when he enters the room. He is no longer the center of their world. He is the difficult subject they navigate around. The relationship he tried to force on everyone, it likely withered under the weight of that rejection. It was never about her, it was about his ego. Once his ego was crushed, there was nothing left to sustain it. He is now a man profoundly alone, haunted not by your absence, but by the presence of his monumental mistake. He will live the rest of his life with the chilling knowledge that he held a complete, beautiful world in his hands and chose to smash it, all to prove a point that no one else believed. This was never about revenge, it was about consequences. He is not living in a prison built by others, but in one he constructed himself, brick by brick, with arrogance and disrespect. His sentence is to live in the quiet aftermath, surrounded by the ruins of the life he demolished. And you are free. You walked away from the rubble, and you are building something new, something beautiful, something that is entirely your own. He is a chapter you have finished reading. You've closed the book. It's a unique kind of pain, isn't it? The kind that comes not from a simple breakup, but from a deliberate attempt to erase you. He didn't just move on, he tried to replace you in the very life you built together, slotting another person into the space you once occupied. It was a profound disrespect, a betrayal that went far beyond the end of a relationship. He took this new woman and tried to force her into the heart of the family, a family you nurtured, a sanctuary you helped create with your own love. The pain you feel is completely valid. It's the wound of watching someone actively try to rewrite your shared history. But life has a way of balancing the scales. For him, the consequences didn't arrive with a dramatic crash, but in the quiet, piercing honesty of the very people he was trying so desperately to fool. It happened at a family dinner, one of those gatherings that used to be filled with the warmth you helped create. He brought her,
seeking a collective nod of approval that would justify his betrayal. But it never came. Instead, the room was suffocating with unspoken truths. You could see the exhaustion etched on his face, not the look of a man in love, but the weariness of someone who knows, deep down, they are living a lie. He was losing the one thing he always took for granted, the respect of his own family. The breaking point came from the most innocent source. A young nephew, too pure to understand the politics of the situation, looked up and asked, his voice clear enough for everyone to hear, "But where is she? We like the other one better." The silence that fell over the room was absolute. In that single, devastating moment, his entire charade crumbled.
The forced smile evaporated, replaced by a flush of raw humiliation. The truth was finally laid bare for everyone to see. He was the one who had shattered their peace, and no amount of pretending could piece it back together. It wasn't long before he appeared at your door. He didn't come with arrogance, but with the crushing weight of his failure. He told you it was all a mistake, that his family wouldn't accept her, that the foundation you both built had crumbled without you. He said you were the only one who could fix the damage he had caused, practically begging you to return and restore the harmony he had so carelessly destroyed. And with the calm of a woman who has already walked through fire, you gave him your answer. You told him, without anger, that the family he broke was not your responsibility to mend. Trust and respect aren't things you can break and then demand someone else glue back together. That door didn't just close, it was sealed the moment he chose his ego over his family. Now he would have to learn to live in the silence he created. You, on the other hand, were already free. And then the moment will come. It won't be a dramatic confrontation under the pouring rain. It will be the simple, jarring buzz of your phone. His name will flash across the screen, a ghost from a life you've already mourned. A part of you will expect a jolt of the old pain, but instead you'll feel a strange, detached curiosity. You'll answer. His voice on the other end won't be the one you remember, the one full of arrogance and command. It will be thin, strained, and stripped of all its former confidence. He'll stumble through the words, a disjointed narrative of his own failure. He'll talk about the silence, the cold shoulders from his family, the constant unspoken judgment. He'll tell you that she left, that she couldn't stand being an outsider, a symbol of a peace he had broken. He'll say it was all a mistake, that he was a fool, that he destroyed the only good thing in his life. He'll pause, and in that silence, you will wait for the words you once thought you needed to hear. I miss you. I love you. But they won't come. Instead, he will ask, his voice cracking with a desperate, selfish hope, can you fix this? Can you just talk to them for me? They'll listen to you. And in that instant, everything will become crystal clear. He isn't calling for you. He is calling for a solution. He doesn't miss your heart. He misses your function. He sees you as a key to unlock the life he lost, a janitor to clean up the mess he made. All the lingering wisps of what if, all the scarred over tenderness you held for the man he once was, will evaporate. There is no anger, no sadness. There is only the quiet, profound finality of the truth. You won't raise your voice. You won't list his betrayals. You will simply take a breath that feels like the first one you've taken in years, and you will say, no, that is no longer my family to mend, and that is no longer my life to fix. You'll end the call before he can respond. There is nothing left to say. You will look out the window, not at the past, but at the day in front of you, and a slow, genuine smile will spread across your face. The final chain has not been broken. It has simply dissolved into dust. I am free.